when I proposed to my girlfriend in a restaurant. She, in front of all her friends, laughed mockingly and said, "Look at this guy. He actually thinks I'm going to marry him." My heart shattered right there. A week later, she came looking for me and showed up at my new place. When I saw the state she was in, I was completely stunned. My name is Daniel. I'm 32, and I work as a structural engineer for a mid-sized firm in Charlotte. I'm not going to pretend I'm some kind of hero in this story. I'm just a guy who thought he knew what love looked like, who thought 3 years with someone meant something real, something permanent. I was wrong about a lot of things, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Her name was Brielle. When we met, she was finishing her marketing degree and I was 2 years into my career, finally feeling stable enough to think about a future with someone. She was magnetic, not just beautiful, but sharp, funny, the kind of person who could work a room without even trying. I fell hard, maybe too hard. Looking back now, I can see the signs I missed, the little cracks I plastered over because I wanted so badly to believe in what we had. We moved in together after a year. She wanted a place downtown, something modern with floor-to-ceiling windows and a view of the skyline. I wanted something I could actually afford on my salary, but I compromised. I always compromised. The rent was steep, but I told myself it was an investment in our future. She contributed too, though her freelance marketing gigs were inconsistent. Some months she'd pull in decent money, other months I'd cover her half without complaint. That's what partners do, right? By year 3, I felt ready. I'd saved up for a ring, nothing ostentatious, but a princess-cut diamond on a platinum band that cost me 3 months' salary. I planned the proposal for her birthday, February 14th, Valentine's Day. I know, cliché as hell. But she always made a big deal about that day, and I wanted it to be perfect for her. I booked a table at Meridian, this upscale place she'd been wanting to try for months. She'd invited 6 of her friends to join us for dinner. Kelsey, Amber, Tiffany, Jocelyn, Sabrina, and Lindsay. They were all there when I got down on one knee, right after dessert arrived. I'd rehearsed what I wanted to say. I told her she was my best friend, my partner, my everything. I told her I couldn't imagine a future without her in it. The box was open in my hand. The ring caught the candlelight just right. And she laughed. Not a nervous giggle or a happy gasp. A full, mocking laugh that cut through the ambient music and the murmur of other diners' conversations. Her friends joined in. Kelsey actually snorted. Brielle looked around the table, then back at me, and said loud enough for nearby tables to hear, "Look at this guy. He actually thinks I'm going to marry him." The restaurant went silent. I could feel every eye on us. My knees were still on the floor. My hand was still holding that ring. "Brielle," I managed to say. My voice sounded small. "Daniel, come on. Did you really think this was going somewhere?" She was still smiling, but there was something cruel in it now, something I'd never seen before. "We've had fun, but marriage? You can barely afford this place without stressing about it for weeks. You think I want to be stuck with that forever?" Amber leaned over and whispered something to Tiffany. They both laughed. I closed the box, stood up. My legs felt like water. "I'm sorry you feel that way," I said. My voice was steady somehow, even though everything inside me was collapsing. "I hope you all enjoy the rest of your evening." I walked to the server station, pulled out my wallet, and paid for my own meal and my own drinks. Just mine. Then I walked out into the February cold without looking back. Update 1: I drove home in a daze. The apartment was dark when I got there. Brielle was still at the restaurant, presumably celebrating her successful humiliation of me with her friends. I didn't waste time. I pulled out my 2 large duffel bags and started packing. Clothes, laptop, work documents, toiletries, the framed photo of my parents from my nightstand. I took only what was mine. I left the furniture we'd bought together, left the dishes, left the stupid expensive coffee maker she'd insisted we needed. I crashed at my buddy Aaron's place that night. He lived in a 1-bedroom in a quieter part of town and offered me his couch without asking questions. Around 2 a.m., my phone started blowing up. Text from Brielle. "Where are you? Daniel, stop being dramatic. You can't just leave like this. We need to talk." I turned my phone off. The next morning, I called my landlord. Our lease was in both our names, but I explained the situation. I was moving out effective immediately, and I wanted my name off the lease. He was surprisingly understanding, maybe because I'd never missed a payment in 2 years. I told him Brielle could stay if she took over the full rent, but that was between them. I paid my portion through the end of the month, and that was it. I found a small studio apartment in an older building near work. It was a third of the size of our downtown place, but it was mine. The rent was manageable. I could breathe again. I moved in on February 19th, 5 days after the proposal. Aaron helped me get my stuff from storage. "You doing okay, man?" he asked as we carried boxes up 3 flights of stairs. "I will be," I said. And I meant it. The humiliation was still raw, but underneath it was something else. Relief, maybe. Like I'd been carrying weight I didn't even realize was there, and now it was gone. I blocked Brielle's number. I blocked her friends. I deleted social media apps from my phone. I needed silence, space to figure out who I was without her. Work became my anchor. I threw myself into a new project, a mixed-use development on the south side that required complex load calculations and creative problem-solving. My boss noticed, complimented my focus. I stayed late most nights, partially because I cared about the work, partially because my empty studio felt too quiet sometimes. On February 26th, Aaron texted me, "Dude, Brielle's been asking around about where you live. Just FYI." I didn't respond. What was there to say? Update 2: She showed up on March 3rd. A Tuesday evening, around 7. I'd just gotten home from work, still in my dress shirt and slacks, about to heat up some leftover Chinese food. There was a knock at my door, 3 sharp raps that somehow felt familiar even though no one should have known where I lived. I looked through the peephole. It was Brielle, but not the Brielle from the restaurant. This woman looked wrong. Her hair was unwashed, pulled back in a messy knot. Her eyes were red and swollen. She wore an oversized sweatshirt and yoga pants that looked like she'd been sleeping in them. She knocked again, more desperately this time. Against my better judgment, I opened the door, but left the chain on. "Daniel." Her voice cracked. "Please. I need to talk to you. How did you find me?" I asked around. "It doesn't matter. Please, can I come in?" "No." She flinched like I'd hit her. "Daniel, please. Everything's falling apart. I lost the apartment. I lost my clients. I don't know what to do. That's not my problem anymore, Brielle." "But it is." She was crying now, real tears streaming down her face. "It's all connected to you leaving. Everything went wrong after that night. My friends won't talk to me. Kelsey said I'm toxic. My mom won't return my calls. The landlord evicted me because I couldn't make the full rent. I've been staying with Tiffany, but she just told me I have to leave by Friday. Daniel, I have nowhere to go." I should have felt satisfaction. I should have felt vindicated. Instead, I just felt tired. "You humiliated me in front of a restaurant full of people," I said quietly. "You laughed at me. You told me I wasn't good enough. What exactly do you want from me now?" I was scared. The words burst out of her. I was scared of committing, scared of being tied down, scared that if I said yes I'd lose myself completely. So I panicked, and I said the worst thing I could think of because I thought if I pushed you away hard enough, I wouldn't have to face what I was feeling. "And what were you feeling?" "That I loved you. That I still love you. That I'm an idiot who destroyed the best thing in my life because I was too proud and too stupid to see what I had." I stared at her through the gap in the door. She looked destroyed, hollowed out. Part of me wanted to believe her. Part of me remembered exactly how her laugh had sounded in that restaurant. "Brielle, I can't do this." "I'm not asking you to take me back," she said quickly. "I know I don't deserve that. I'm just asking for help. Just until I get back on my feet. A week, maybe 2. I'll sleep on the floor. You won't even know I'm there. You need to go. Daniel, you need to go, Brielle. I'm sorry your life fell apart. I'm sorry you're going through this. But you made your choices, and now you have to live with them. Just like I have to live with mine." She stood there for a long moment, staring at me through that narrow opening. Then she nodded slowly, wiped her face with her sleeve, and turned away. I watched her walk down the hallway, her shoulders hunched, her footsteps echoing off the walls. I closed the door, locked it, stood there in my tiny studio, and tried to figure out if I'd just made the right decision or the cruelest one. Update 3: I didn't hear from Brielle for 2 weeks. I threw myself back into work, started going to the gym again, tried to rebuild some semblance of a normal life. Aaron invited me out for drinks on a Friday, and I actually went. We sat in a sports bar watching a basketball game I didn't care about, drinking beers I didn't really want, and it felt almost okay. Almost normal. Then on March 18th, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Daniel? It's Kelsey, Brielle's friend. The one who'd snorted when she laughed at my proposal. How did you get this number?" "That doesn't matter. Listen, I need to tell you something about Brielle. About that night. I almost hung up. I don't want to hear it. Just listen, okay? Please. You deserve to know the truth. Something in her voice made me stay on the line. Fine. Talk. That night at the restaurant. It was planned. All of it. She paused. Brielle told us you were going to propose. She knew because she'd found the receipt for the ring in your jacket pocket a week before. And she didn't want to marry you, but she didn't know how to end things. So she came up with this plan. My stomach dropped. What kind of plan? She said if she humiliated you publicly, you'd leave on your own, and she wouldn't have to be the bad guy who ended a 3-year relationship. She told us exactly what to do. Laugh when she laughed, make comments, make sure you felt small enough that you'd just walk away. She said it was kinder than dragging things out. I couldn't speak. Couldn't breathe. I know I'm a horrible person for going along with it, Kelsey continued. I've felt sick about it every day since. But there's more. The reason everything fell apart for her after? Tiffany posted about it on Facebook. The whole story, calling Brielle out for being cruel and manipulative. It went semi-viral in our social circle. Her clients saw it. Turns out publicly humiliating your long-term boyfriend is bad for business when your job is managing social media for family-oriented brands. Her mom saw it. Everyone saw it. And they all cut her off. Why are you telling me this? Because she's been calling me, texting me, showing up at my apartment. She keeps saying she needs to fix things with Daniel because that's the only way to fix her reputation. She thinks if she can get you back, she can spin some story about it being a misunderstanding, show everyone she's not the villain. She doesn't actually love you, Daniel. She's just desperate. The line went quiet except for the sound of my own breathing. I'm sorry, Kelsey said softly. I'm sorry for my part in it. I'm sorry it took me this long to tell you. But you needed to know before she tries something else. She hung up before I could respond. I sat there on my couch, phone still pressed to my ear, processing what I'd just heard. The proposal wasn't just a moment of panic or fear. It was calculated, premeditated. She'd gathered her friends like an audience for a performance, and I'd been the punchline. My phone buzzed. A text from another unknown number. It's Brielle. I'm using Tiffany's phone because you blocked me. Please, I'm begging you. Can we meet? I need to explain everything. I need you to understand. I'm staying at a motel on Wilkinson Boulevard, room 237. Please, Daniel. Please. I stared at that message for a long time. Then I did something I should have done weeks ago. I took a screenshot and saved it. Not because I planned to respond, but because I needed proof. Proof that this was real, that I wasn't crazy, that I hadn't imagined how bad it had gotten. Then I deleted the message and blocked that number too. Final update, 3 months have passed since that night at Meridian. It's now early June, and my life looks nothing like it did in February. I got a promotion at work, senior project engineer, with a significant raise and my own team. The project I'd thrown myself into got completed ahead of schedule and under budget, and my boss made it clear that my dedication hadn't gone unnoticed. I moved into a better apartment, still modest, but with actual space and natural light, and a small balcony where I can drink my morning coffee. Aaron set me up on a date with his girlfriend's coworker, a woman named Heather who works in hospital administration. We went out for dinner, not Meridian, obviously, and talked for 3 hours about everything and nothing. I don't know if it'll turn into something serious, but it felt good to connect with someone new, someone who didn't come with the weight of betrayal and manipulation. As for Brielle, I heard through the grapevine that she moved back to her hometown somewhere in Ohio. Apparently her parents finally took her in after she exhausted all other options. Her social media presence, once carefully curated and professionally managed, has gone dark. I haven't looked at her profiles directly, but Aaron's girlfriend mentioned it in passing. I didn't ask for details. Kelsey sent me one more message in late April. I know I have no right to ask, but I hope you're doing okay. For what it's worth, what happened to you changed how I think about loyalty and friendship. I left that friend group. Some things you can't come back from. I didn't respond, but I appreciated it nonetheless. The ring is still in my dresser drawer. I can't bring myself to return it. It feels like admitting defeat somehow, like letting her win. Maybe someday I'll take it back to the jeweler. Maybe someday I'll give it to someone who actually deserves it. For now, it stays where it is, a small reminder of the worst night of my life and everything that came after. I don't think about Brielle much anymore. When I do, it's not with anger or even sadness. It's more like looking at a stranger, someone I used to know but don't really recognize. The Daniel who loved her, who planned that proposal, who believed in their future together. He's gone. I'm someone different now. Someone harder maybe, but also someone smarter. Someone who knows that love shouldn't require you to shrink yourself, to constantly compromise, to accept being the punchline of someone else's joke. A couple weeks ago, I was walking through Uptown after work and I saw a couple at an outdoor table at a cafe. He was down on one knee, ring box open, and she had her hands over her mouth with tears streaming down her face. She said yes, and everyone around them applauded. I stopped and watched for a moment, and I felt nothing. No bitterness, no envy. Just a distant kind of hope that they'd figure it out better than I had. Then I kept walking. I had my own life to get back to. Edit 1. A few people have asked if I ever got closure or confronted Brielle directly after learning it was all planned. I didn't. What would be the point? She made her choices, manipulated the situation to get the outcome she wanted, and then faced the consequences when it backfired. Me confronting her wouldn't have changed anything. It wouldn't have made me feel better, and it definitely wouldn't have made her a better person. Sometimes the best closure is just walking away and not looking back. Edit 2. Yes, I'm in therapy now. Started in April. Turns out having your life implode in a public restaurant does a number on your ability to trust people. My therapist has been helpful in working through the anger and the feeling of being utterly fooled. Highly recommended if you're going through something similar.